Few civilizations in human history have risen from obscurity to dominate an entire region as swiftly as the Aztecs. From their humble beginnings as wandering tribes to the builders of Tenochtitlan, one of the most magnificent cities of the ancient world, the Aztecs forged an empire of immense power, wealth, and religious devotion. Yet, within barely 2 centuries, their empire collapsed in a blaze of war, disease, and betrayal. Welcome to Chronicles and Conquerors, where history's greatest empires, leaders, and battles come to life. From the rise of ancient civilizations to the legends of conquerors who shaped our world, every story here is crafted to inspire, educate, and ignite your curiosity. Subscribe and step into the past to uncover the power, glory, and lessons of history's greatest figures. The Aztecs, or Mexica people, originated as nomads from the north, part of a broader group known as the Chichimeca. Guided by their patron god Huitzilopochtli, the god of the sun and war, they wandered through central Mexico seeking a place to call their own. Around 1325 CE, they settled on a swampy island in Lake Texcoco, founding Tenochtitlan, the city that would become the heart of their empire. At first, the Mexica were considered uncivilized outsiders by the older, more established city-states of the Valley of Mexico. With little land or wealth, they survived as mercenaries, fighting for powerful neighbors such as the Tepanecs of Azcapotzalco. Their prowess in battle and fierce devotion to Huitzilopochtli made them feared and respected soldiers. Through years of mercenary service, the Aztecs gained deep knowledge of Mesoamerican warfare, diplomacy, and politics. They observed how city-states rose and fell, and they learned the value of alliances and strategic marriages. Their service also earned them gradual privileges, land grants, intermarriage rights, and military honors that lifted them from the status of wanderers to respected warriors. Still, they remained subordinate to their Tepanec overlords under the rule of Tezozomoc and later Maxtla, whose tyranny and demands for tribute grew unbearable. The Aztecs' resentment simmered until it ignited into open rebellion, a war that would give birth to an empire. In 1428, the Mexica ruler Itzcoatl forged a powerful alliance with Nezahualcoyotl, the exiled prince of Texcoco, and Totoquihuastli, the ruler of Tlacopan. Together, their combined forces rose up against Azcapotzalco in what became one of the defining wars of Mesoamerican history. The conflict was brutal and decisive. The Aztec-led coalition besieged and burned the Tepanec capital, defeating Maxtla and freeing the valley from his dominance. In the aftermath, the victors established the Triple Alliance, a pact that united Tenochtitlan, Texcoco, and Tlacopan in shared rule. Under this arrangement, Tenochtitlan served as the supreme military and religious power. Texcoco became the intellectual and administrative center. Tlacopan functioned as a logistical and trade partner. Tribute from conquered lands was divided among the three, though Tenochtitlan's influence quickly outgrew that of its partners. Over time, the Aztec capital transformed the alliance into an empire, expanding its control through warfare and diplomacy across much of central Mexico. The Aztecs' religion was deeply spiritual, built around the belief that the cosmos required constant nourishment from human life. They worshipped many gods, each representing vital forces of nature and human existence, but none was more revered than Huitzilopochtli, the sun and war god. Human sacrifice was central to their faith. They believed the sun's daily rise depended on the offering of human blood, symbolizing life's renewal. Captives from war, slaves, and occasionally volunteers were brought to towering temples, such as the Templo Mayor in Tenochtitlan, where priests performed elaborate rituals. To the Aztecs, these acts were not cruelty, but devotion each heart offered, ensured the continuation of the universe and the prosperity of their people. Warfare, therefore, was both a means of expansion and a sacred duty to sustain the gods. Through the leadership of rulers such as Itzcoatl, Ahuitzotl, and Moctezuma I, The Aztec Empire expanded across vast territories. Their armies conquered dozens of city-states, securing tribute in gold, jade, cacao, textiles, and captives. By the late 15th century, Tenochtitlan had become one of the greatest cities in the world, yet the empire's dominance bred resentment. Many subject peoples such as the Tlaxcalans, Totonacs, and Huexotzincas hated Aztec rule and longed for freedom. This discontent would later prove decisive when foreign invaders arrived. When Moctezuma II ascended to power in 1502, the Aztec Empire stood at its zenith. A capable administrator and devout ruler, Moctezuma expanded imperial borders and centralized authority under his control. Under his reign, Tenochtitlan reached new levels of wealth and splendor, adorned with temples, gardens, and palaces. However, Moctezuma's reign also grew increasingly rigid and autocratic, relying heavily on tribute and religious ceremony to project power. It was during this time of grandeur that Hernán Cortés, a Spanish conquistador, landed on the coast of Veracruz in 1519. Marching inland with a small army of roughly 600 men, horses, and artillery, along with native interpreters and growing alliances, Cortés began his campaign against one of the greatest civilizations of the Americas. The Aztec-Spanish conflict began with a series of encounters that revealed both the brilliance and flaws of the Aztec system. Many indigenous peoples, oppressed by years of Aztec domination, sided with the Spaniards. The Totonacs, and later the Tlaxcalans, became crucial allies, providing thousands of warriors and supplies. Despite initial resistance, the Tlaxcalans soon joined Cortés after witnessing the Spaniards' superior weapons, steel swords, muskets, and mounted cavalry that terrified their enemies. United, the coalition advanced toward Tenochtitlan. Upon entering the capital, Cortés was received diplomatically by Moctezuma II. The Aztecs showed immense hospitality, offering gifts of gold and luxury. However, tensions rose as the Spaniards began asserting control, desecrating temples, and demanding tribute. When a Spanish force massacred unarmed Aztec nobles during a festival in Moctezuma's absence, the city erupted in rebellion. During the chaos, Moctezuma was killed, whether struck by a stone thrown by his own people or executed by the Spaniards remains uncertain. The uprising forced Cortés and his men to flee the city during the infamous Night of Sorrows, La Noche Triste, in 1520. Hundreds of Spaniards and thousands of allied natives were killed as they tried to cross the causeways under a hail of arrows and spears. But the war was far from over. Cortés regrouped with his native allies and launched a calculated counteroffensive. In 1521, he returned to besiege Tenochtitlan, cutting off its aqueducts and blockading the city by land and water. Spanish brigantines patrolled the lake, while thousands of Tlaxcalan warriors stormed the surrounding settlements. The siege lasted nearly 3 months. The Aztecs, led by Cuauhtémoc, the nephew and successor of Moctezuma, fought with desperate courage. They adapted to the enemy's tactics, ambushed Spanish ships, and launched night attacks to reclaim lost ground. Yet the city was strangled by famine and disease, especially smallpox, which decimated the population and weakened their defenses. By August 13, 1521, Tenochtitlan fell. The once great city was reduced to ashes and rubble, its canals filled with corpses. Cuauhtémoc was captured while attempting to flee and later executed by the Spaniards. The mighty Aztec Empire had come to an end. Though their empire was destroyed, the Aztecs' legacy endures. The Mexica people left behind monumental architecture, intricate art, and a rich spiritual tradition that continues to shape modern Mexican identity. The eagle devouring a serpent, the symbol of Tenochtitlan's founding, remains at the heart of Mexico's national flag. The story of the Aztecs stands as both a testament to human brilliance and a somber warning about the fragility of power in the face of conquest, division, and disease. The rise and fall of the Aztec Empire is one of history's most dramatic epics, a civilization born from hardship, empowered by faith, and destroyed by steel, fire, and fate. If you enjoyed this journey through history, Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Chronicles and Conquerors. Join us again as we bring to life the empires, leaders, and battles that shaped our world one story at a time.